Have you ever wondered what some of the cool things and what some of the terrible things about moving to Evans, Georgia, outside of Augusta are? Well, you've come to the right place. We're going to talk about my least favorite thing about living in Evans, Georgia. And then I'm going to tell you some of my favorite things about living in Evans, Georgia. So you guys are going to get to know about all of that right now. One of the things that people love about the Evans area is that we have some really highly rated schools here, according to greatschools.org. And ignore my doggies barking. Back to greatschools.org. Several of our schools are rated pretty high on greatschools.org, and one of my friends actually did a bunch of research when she was looking at moving, and she specified one of the elementary schools that she really wanted her children to attend because it was rated so high on greatschools.org. And so that's exactly what we did. I was able to search the school, search that school zone specifically for her and find what homes were listed in that school zone area so that she would make sure to find a home that was in the area that was zoned for that school. So that's one of the things that people love about Evans, the schools. One of the things that people hate about Evans is the traffic. We actually have quite a bit of traffic in Evans. It has grown a lot in the last few years, and a couple of the roads can be pretty congested, especially during peak hours. So if traffic is not your thing, you may not want to consider moving to Evans. I personally don't mind the traffic because when I lived up near DC, traffic there was way worse, and so everything is relative. But I've been down here for over 20 years, and 20 years ago the traffic was almost non-existent, and so it is a little frustrating to have to sit in a little bit of traffic, but I have to just bring myself back to reality and remind myself that it actually isn't as bad as what it could be. So there you have it. Another thing that people love about Evans is that it's family friendly, and by that I mean that there are lots of parks. It's also dog friendly. We have lots of dog parks here, and they have separate parks for big dogs and small dogs, which is really nice because sometimes you don't want your little dog playing with big dogs because they can be a little rougher. They don't know how strong they can be. And you see people out and about just walking around in Evans. They've got the downtown Evans market on the weekends when it's the season for that, which is just really nice. You can get some local fresh produce and dairy and meats and all kinds of stuff, which is really cool. They have vendors out there. What else do people really enjoy about it being? Oh, as far as the playgrounds, I forgot to say, we do also have an inclusive playground that is specifically built for kids of all abilities, and so anyone can have a great time at that inclusive park, which is pretty cool that we have one specifically for anybody, any child of any developmental stage, so that they can be in a safe environment. Now, one of the things that people really don't like about Evans is that it's more expensive than Augusta. So the average price point of a home in Evans is, I'm going to look at my cheat sheet, $470,000, compared to the average price point of home in Augusta, which is $213,000. So that's a significant difference. Now, that's not to say that you can't find less expensive homes in Evans, but that just gives you an idea of, what kind of price difference you have from Evans versus Augusta. You guys are going to want to stay tuned to find out what my top least favorite thing about Evans is, and I'm going to talk about that soon. One of the things that people really love about Evans is that, according to the Columbia County Sheriff's Office, This county, Columbia County, where Evans is located, is rated the 3rd safest county in all of the state of Georgia. So that's pretty exciting that it's a fairly safe place. Now, does that mean that I recommend that you just leave your front door unlocked? Absolutely not. Let's use common sense. Does that mean that you should leave your car door unlocked when you're out shopping or when it's parked in your driveway? Definitely not. Don't do that either, because that's just inviting something not great to happen. And even though we're rated in the top safest areas in Georgia, that doesn't mean that there is zero crime. There absolutely can certainly be crime in the area. So just be smart and use common sense. Okay, now we're going to talk about one of the things that people really do not like about Evans, and that would be pollen season. Now, if you're not familiar with pollen season down in the south, Augusta is especially not great, Augusta area, including Evans, because we kind of sit in a bowl, and so once the pollen all dumps out of the trees, and by dumps out of the trees, I literally mean you can see it pouring out of the pine trees. It's pretty crazy. Everything is covered in pollen, everything. I'm going to show you a video clip of the pollen that just caked and piled up on the street. Here is some pollen that I'm talking about. It looks like yellow paint, but actually it's just pollen all in the bottom of the road. If you don't have allergies, once you move down here, there's a strong possibility that you're going to get allergies just because there's so much pollen and it just really gunks you all up. My son is extra sensitive to it, so we just keep Claritin in the house. We get the children's chewable Claritin, we keep it in the cabinet, and when pollen season rolls around, he just knows he's got to take Claritin to help him not have runny nose and eyes and all of that good stuff. So that may be you. If you move down here, you may get a sensitivity to pollen. One of the things that people love about the Evans area is that we have a ton of really yummy restaurants. A lot of local restaurants such as Namaste, which is an Indian restaurant that was opened by a local. We also have Laziza Mediterranean restaurant, delicious food. We have a shish kebab Turkish restaurant here in Evans. We have Mai Tai, which is a Thai restaurant in Evans. Now, y'all, I don't know if you know this from previous videos, but I lived in Thailand, in Bangkok, for 3 years, and so I'm extra picky about Thai food because I cook at home. So I can't say that I recommend any of the Thai restaurants we have in the area, but Mai Thai's not bad, and we have another one that's over in Martinez called Sawadis, and it's pretty good as well, but it's nothing like real Thai food. So let me see what else. Oh, we have a fine dining restaurant called Cork and Flame, which is always packed. You definitely have to have reservations to go there. Their food is phenomenal. The chef trained, I can't remember where, but he trained overseas. He does a phenomenal job. He actually just opened a restaurant inside the restaurant, and it's called Inicio, and it's like a sensory experience of dining, so that's pretty cool. They only do that once a month, and I think it's only like 12 people or so that can get into that, so you definitely have to make reservations if you want to go check that out. It's pretty phenomenal. And of course we have like the Cracker Barrel restaurant. We have good old Waffle House, if that's your thing. Can't stay away from a Grand Slam. I try not to go to Waffle House because I know how terrible it is for you, but nothing like a Waffle House. I remember when we all lived in Maryland and we would travel down to visit my grandparents in Georgia. That was like one of my favorite things because my dad would always stop at a Waffle House, and that was like our super treat, was we got to have waffles with syrup, because at home we didn't really have a lot of sugar. My mom was pretty strict about things like that, which was good because it made me not have such a sweet tooth. So anyway, Waffle House, even though it's not good for you, it's one of the things that is a treat once in a while. So anyway, that's some of the stuff that we have in Evans. Now, one of the things that people don't like about Evans is how far it is from the medical district. So if you work in the medical district, you're talking about 16 miles, which doesn't sound far, but with traffic in Evans during peak hours, you're talking 30 to 45 minutes of travel time to get down to the medical district. Now, that's not to say to get to a hospital, because we do also have a hospital not too far, not all the way down in the medical district. We have one on Wheeler Road, Doctor's Hospital. So, you know, if you have an emergency, it's not going to be like you're going to drive 45 minutes to the hospital. It won't be that. You can probably get there in about 20. And then, Fort Gordon. So Fort Eisenhower. Oh, I caught myself. So it used to be called Fort Gordon. Now it's Fort Eisenhower. And if you work on Fort Eisenhower and you live in Evans, depending on where you live in Evans, now it's about 13 miles to the Fort Eisenhower. I've got to quit that. And 13 miles sounds like an easy, quick little jaunt. However, that's just to get to the gate. And so depending on where in Fort Eisenhower you work at, it's going to take you a good 10 to 15 minutes past the gate to get to where you're going. And from Evans to Fort Gordon, that 13 miles can be between 20 to 30 minutes, depending on where in Evans you're located. So that just kind of gives you a better idea of where things are. And if you work at either of those two, if that commute sounds fine to you, then Evans might be fine. But if you don't want to have that long of a commute, then Evans might not be the place for you. Another thing that people love about the Evans area is that there's a newer downtown Evans area. And so this downtown area is pretty phenomenal. We've got an outdoor amphitheater, the Lady A Amphitheater, where they have concerts and all kinds of cool stuff. And then we also have a performing arts center that has different shows there that you can go see. And I'm trying to think what else. Some of the local dance studios and stuff will have their performances there, which is really cute to go see the little kids if they're performing. But then they have real shows as well, like adults and all that kind of stuff. I'm looking at my cheat sheet. They have luxury apartments in downtown Evans that just opened up not too long ago. So if downtown living is for you, that might be a great spot for you. There's several local coffee shops that are right there in downtown Evans. So very accessible, easy to get to. Some restaurants that are right there as well. I know one off the top of my head is Mirin. They have ramen, really delicious ramen. And let me think where else. They've got some boutique shops right there. You're also not far from Publix and Kroger. You also have the county library right there. You have a big, huge local gym called Evans Fitness Center. There's also some other gyms as well. If you know, having a gym is your thing, the luxury apartments actually have a gym inside the apartment building, which is pretty cool. Let me think what else I need to tell you about. Look at my cheat sheet. The government complex is there. The post office is right there. And you're actually just down the street from the Target shopping center. So you've got Target, Belk, you've got a bunch of restaurants over there, a couple of boutique stores over there, and then of course the department store, Belk, the department store, and Target. You've got Ross, Dress for Less, which is, don't tell everybody, but one of my favorite stores. I love getting a bargain, and that's like my favorite place to go dig for a bargain. I think that's about it, but I mean, lots of stuff. Of course, you've got hardware stores. You've got an Ace Hardware store, Lowe's, Home Depot. You've got a Big Lots. That's another place for a deal if you like shopping for deals. And I'm trying to think what else I need to tell you about. Some pizza places. You've got my favorite sushi restaurant, Hokkaido, is in Evans. It's not in downtown Evans, but it's not far from downtown Evans. So if you love sushi, ask me and I'll tell you about my favorite place. It's really yummy. Okay, that's all about that I can think of. Now we're going to talk about my least favorite part about Evans, and that is cockroaches or palmetto bugs. I can handle snakes, I can handle spiders, that doesn't bother me, but something about the flying cockroaches here, it's horrific. And I'll just tell you a quick little story about me and cockroaches. Well, I'll tell you two. One, y'all, this is terrible. I went to show a house to these clients, and it was a vacant home. and I went up and I like got the key out of the lockbox and I unlocked the door. I opened the door and seriously, you guys, this cockroach like literally flies at my face and I half see it. I scream, I duck, I turn, and I run past my client screaming. And then I had to compose myself and I was like, sorry guys, I just hate cockroaches, and that one just literally flew at my face. I'm so sorry. And they were super sweet about it. They were friends of mine, so they didn't judge me too harshly. And then one other cockroach story for me. When I was living in a different house than I am living in now, my kids were younger. I think my youngest was 3 and Patrick was 5 and a half, something like that. We were in the dining room. We had a really huge, long, like it was a dining room, living room, and then it flowed into the kitchen. So it was one big, long room. And the dining room was at the very end of the room, and then the living room was in the middle, and then the kitchen had 2 openings that went into the kitchen at the other side. And Patrick was over by the dining room table, and he was like, oh, Mama, there's a cockroach. But I thought like he meant it was a dead cockroach. And I was like, oh, I was carrying John Henry. We were walking, and I set John Henry down on the table, and then I get down, because Patrick's like, it's underneath the leg or whatever. I get down on the floor to look, and it literally starts running, and I jump up and I run into the kitchen screaming. And of course that totally freaks out John Henry. He starts crying, and I'm like, it's okay, it's not gonna hurt you. I was like, Mom is just scared of it. And Patrick was standing there and he was like, Mom, why are you so upset? And I'm like, I just don't like cockroaches. And it literally started flying, and I was screaming as I watched it fly. And then it went to the top. So I went and I grabbed John Henry off the table because I was a terrible mom, and I just ran and left him. And then I was freaking out because the cockroach was just crawling at the top of the curtains, and we had really tall ceilings, so I couldn't, even if I could get to it, let's be honest, I wasn't going to get to it. So I was just like racking my brain, what could I do? Because I wasn't going to be able to leave and just have this cockroach hanging out in my house. So I went out into the garage, and I found like that wasp spray that you're not supposed to use inside the house. And I took it into the dining room, and it like had the big, huge, long spray, however long of a, like 30 foot. I don't know, that's probably wrong, but whatever. I sprayed that cockroach until I have sprayed so much of that stuff. We probably shouldn't have been breathing it in. That was probably bad. And the cockroach fell down on the ground and then like shook and died. And I was like, ah. So I called my husband. I was like, hey, when you get home, I'm going to need you to probably like rip these curtains down and burn them, and then you're probably going to need to handle that cockroach because I don't think I can touch it. And he did, because he's a good husband and he loves me and he knows how I am about cockroaches. So anyway, that's my least favorite thing about being down here is the flying palmetto bugs. But to go along with that, we do also have termites down here. So if you move down here, I highly recommend you get a termite bond on your house. If the house you're buying, I always recommend getting a termite inspection done just in case. You never know. It's not a matter of if you're going to get them, it's just when. Excuse me, it's just when. We also have snakes here. We have water moccasins. We have copperheads. We have rattlesnakes. We also have the good snakes that eat the bad snakes. So, I mean, there's that. My brother is deathly afraid of snakes. We had one that would hang out at our house, and he just hated it, but it was a good snake that hung out because we had a pond behind the house, and so there were copperheads and water moccasins, and I think that snake just liked eating those snakes, so it was fine with me that it liked to hang out around our house. Let me think about what else I need to tell you about the badness. Spiders, we do have spiders. We have brown recluses, we have black widows, like the bad ones, I'm sorry. We also have really scary ones like wolf spiders. As a matter of fact, just last week we had friends staying with us. This is so embarrassing. Like, it's like your house is fine, and then when someone comes to stay with you, all of a sudden, like the bugs are like, hey, cool, let's just show how gross you are. I promise my house is not gross. So he was up making coffee. My friend was up making coffee in the morning. His wife was still in the bed, and I heard him like doing something, and I was like, what are you doing? He was like, there's a huge spider over here. And I thought he meant like, again, I always assume that they're dead. I don't think that they're alive. I don't know why. And I go over there, and I don't have my glasses on, so I use glasses for distance, and I like get down and I look, and there's a huge wolf spider, and it's like hairy. Anyway, and it was totally not dead. So I jump back. I mean, I can handle spiders, and I'm like, okay, I'll just get a fly swatter and I'll kill it. Well, this thing was big enough that the fly swatter, it literally just, like, I slapped it with a fly swatter and it just kept running, and I was like, ah! And then my friend had, like, grabbed his shoe and he was trying to hit it, and he thinks he got it, but then it also just went down the vent. So you guys can't tell my oldest son, Patrick, because he actually hates spiders. He hates spiders as much as I hate cockroaches. So we just kept that to ourselves and didn't tell him about it. And we're just going to say that hopefully it just got hit and died in the vent. But I'm not going to lie, every morning since, I've been like eagle-eyeing the floor just to make sure that wolf spider's not back, because it freaks me out. I mean, I'll kill it. It doesn't bother me, but whew. Anyway, so I told my husband that he's got to get the pest control people to come and spray the crap out of the house again. We don't spray inside, we spray outside, but I may have to have them spray inside because that freaks me out. I don't really want bugs in my house. Like, go live outside, that's totally cool, but don't come in my house. So that is my least favorite thing. Back to cockroaches. And I hope that gives you a better idea about the great things and the not so great things about Evans. Well, there you have it. The great things about Evans and the not so great things about Evans. You guys are going to have to make up your own minds if this is somewhere that you want to come and take a look at and see if it's for you. If you're considering moving to the Evans area or the Augusta area, I would love to talk to you about it and give you any information that you would like to know. You can reach out to me, give me a call, shoot me a text, email me. I'm always happy to hear from you guys. Put a comment in the comment section if you'd like to. That takes me a little longer to get to than if you text me, call me, or email me, but I'll get to it eventually.